Hi everyone, welcome to this video tutorial. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at 2D shapes. This lesson is tailored towards individuals who want to sit for the ASVAB exams. We know that for mathematics, the ASVAB exam is basically divided into maths knowledge and arithmetic reasoning. So this video lesson is going to be divided into two parts. In the first part of the lesson, I'm going to be introducing what 2D shapes are, the different types of 2D shapes, and the difference between area and perimeter of 2D shapes. In the second part of the lesson, we are going to be solving some practice questions from the arithmetic reasoning section and the maths knowledge section of the ASVAB test. If you want to get these details, you need to stay tuned to the end. Let's go. So 2D shapes. What are 2D shapes? Or what is a 2D shape? A 2D shape is a flat shape. 2D shapes cannot be moved from one point to the other. Basically, shapes are divided into 2D shapes and 3D shapes. 2D shapes are flat shapes. So if I draw a shape like this is a 2D shape. I cannot handle this shape. I cannot move this shape. It is a flat shape. So 2D shapes are basically flat shapes that cannot be moved from one point to the other. Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to be looking at 4 types of 2D shapes. There are other types of 2D shapes, but from my observation, working with students who have written and passed the ASVAB test, these are the 4 2D shapes you need to have a good understanding of. Okay, so the first one is the rectangle, the second one is the square, the third is the triangle, and the fourth is the circle. So we're going to look at the formulas for calculating the area and the perimeter of these 4 2D shapes. But before we look at that, we need to know the difference between area and perimeter. So let's see the difference between the area and the perimeter of a 2D shape. The area of a 2D shape is the space within the 2D shape, the empty space within the 2D shape, while the perimeter of the 2D shape is the sum of the lines surrounding the 2D shape. So this is the basic difference between area and perimeter. If you understand this, then whenever you are told to solve area and perimeter, even if you forget the formula in some cases, knowing the difference between the area and perimeter might help you remember these formulas. So if we have a shape like this, okay, the empty space, this space inside, is the area. So the empty space is the area of the 2D shape, while the sum of the lines is the perimeter. So the perimeter is the line, the sum of the lines. So whenever you're told to calculate the area of a 2D shape, remember that you are told to calculate the space inside the 2D shape. And then the perimeter is simply the sum of the lines surrounding the 2D shape. Now let's look at the formulas for each of the different 2D shapes that we have. Here we have a rectangle. A rectangle is a 2D shape that has 4 sides. Observing this rectangle, we can see that 2 of its opposite sides are equal. These other 2 sides are also equal. The longer sides are called length. So here is length and here is length. The shorter sides are called width. So here is width and here is width. This is how a rectangle looks like. So how do we calculate the area of a rectangle? Remember, the area of this rectangle is the empty space within the rectangle. The formula for calculating the area of a rectangle is length multiplied by width. The length multiplied by the width. So let's look at a situation. If I have let's say these are students in a class. If you're asked how many students are in this class, there are 2 ways of knowing the number of students in this class. The first way is counting each student in the class. And if you count each student in the class, you're going to get 12 students. But another way of getting it done is count the number of students at the front, 4, count the number of students at the side, 3, and then you can simply do 4 multiplied by 3. So that's the same concept that is used in area of a rectangle. To know the entire space inside this rectangle, all we need to do is multiply the length by the width. Once you do that, you know the empty space, right? Perimeter of a rectangle. Remember, perimeter is the sum of the lines surrounding the 2D shape. So since these are the lines surrounding the 2D shape, to get the perimeter, all you need to do is length plus length plus width plus width. The sum of all the sides gives you the perimeter. That's why the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is length plus width plus width. Or you can simply say 2 length plus 2 width. Okay, that gives you the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. Next, we're going to look at a square. A square is a 2D shape that has 4 sides. So just like the rectangle, a square has 4 sides. But the difference between a square and a rectangle is, for a square, all the sides are equal. So here is length, here is length, here is length, and here is length. So this is going to influence the formula for the area and perimeter of the square. For the area of the square, we have length multiplied by length. Remember, for the area of a rectangle, we have length multiplied by width. But over here, we have length multiplied by length. For the perimeter, we're adding all 4 lengths together. So length plus length plus length plus length, which gives us 4 length. So these are the formulas for solving area and perimeter of a square. Next, let's consider the area and perimeter of a triangle. So for a triangle is a 2D shape that has 3 sides and 3 angles. There are actually different types of triangles, but in this situation, we are looking at a right angle triangle, a triangle that has one of its angles equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so to calculate the area of this triangle, we need to know the height, which is the vertical side of the triangle. We need to know the base, which is the horizontal component of the triangle. So the formula for area of a triangle is half multiplied by the base multiplied by the height. To calculate the perimeter of this triangle, all you need to do is just add the 3 sides of the triangle. So this means for you to do that, you need to know this other side of the triangle. Now let's look at the last one, which is area and circumference of a circle. So in other 2D shapes, it is called perimeter, but in the case of a circle, it is called circumference. Let's look at it. A circle is a 2D shape that has points at equal distance from the center. So the center of this circle, this line here is made up of points that are at equal distance from this center. So the distance from the center to this point is equal to the distance from the center to this point. Before we go ahead to understand the area and circumference of a circle, we need to know the different components of the circle. So here, the empty space is called area. Remember, area is the space inside the 2D shape. But this line, in other shapes, it is called perimeter, but in a circle, it is called circumference. Okay? A line drawn from this side of the circumference passing through the center to the opposite side is called the diameter. Okay. A line drawn from one side of the circumference through the center to the opposite side of the circumference is called the diameter. But half of the diameter, which is a line drawn from the center to the circumference, is called a radius. Okay, so we need to know these 2 things. So now that we've known the radius and the diameter, let's consider the formula for area and circumference. The formula for the area of a circle is pi radius squared. Pi is a constant that represents the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. Pi is equal to the circumference divided by the diameter, and it will give you a constant value. So pi is equal to 3.14 or 22/7. There are some situations where you might not be given the radius. So, but we know from this diagram that 1 diameter is equal to 2 radius. So diameter is equal to 2 radius. You might have a situation where you are given the diameter, but you need the radius in the formula. So the radius will be equal to diameter divided by 2. So if you know the diameter, all you need to do is divide the diameter by 2 to get the value of the radius. Okay? Now let's look at the circumference. The formula seems similar, but there's a little bit of difference. For the area, it is pi radius squared. For the circumference, it is 2 pi radius. You need to take note of this difference. Okay? So now we've gone through the formulas for the area and the perimeter, circumference of the 2D shapes. The next thing we're going to do is solve practice questions relating to what we've just learned. Let's do that. So let's consider the first question we have here. The question is, a rectangle has a perimeter of 32 inches. its length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. What is the length of the rectangle? So first we need to recall that the perimeter is the sum of all the sides of the rectangle. So let's draw the rectangle. We know that a rectangle has 4 sides and opposite sides are equal. The longer sides are called the length, the shorter sides are called the width, correct? But in this question, we are told that the length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. Do we know what the width is? We don't know. So let's call the width x. Many students always ask, why do we use x? We use x to represent something we don't know. You can call it y, you can call it z, anything you like. But let's call the width, which is the shorter side, x. So here is x, here is x. So let's go back to the length. The length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. The length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. The length is 3 plus 2x. Let's look at it again. The length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. Twice the width plus 3. The length is 3 inches greater than twice the width. So here will also be 3 plus 2x. But we know that the perimeter is 36 inches. So remember, perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So if we add all these together, we're expected to get 36 inches. So let's start. 3 plus 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus x is equal to 36. 3 plus 2x, 3 plus 2x, x plus x. So let's bring all the x together. 2x plus 2x is going to give us 4x, plus 1x is going to give us 5x, plus 1x is going to give us 6x. So we have 6x. 3 plus 3 is going to give us 6, plus 6 is equal to 36. If we want to eliminate plus 6 from both sides, we introduce minus 6 to both sides. So on the left, plus 6 is going to cancel out minus 6. So 6x is equal to 36 minus 6. 36 minus 6 is going to give us 30. 6x is equal to 30. Dividing both sides by 6. X is equal to 5. X is equal to 5. But the question says, what is the length of the rectangle? So we are not looking for x. Remember, x is the width. We are looking for the length. The length is 3 plus 2x. 3 plus 2x. So 3 plus 2x is 3 plus 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is going to give us 10. So 3 plus 10. So the length of this rectangle is equal to 13 inches. So the answer to this question is option B. Very simple. So we're going to look at the next example. So now let's look at this question. The question says a triangle with a perimeter of 60 inches has one side that is twice as long as the shortest side, and a third side that is 8 inches longer than the shortest side. What is the length of the shortest side? This is very easy. Remember perimeter? Perimeter is the sum of all the sides of a 2D shape. For a triangle has 3 sides. So let's assume this is the triangle that we have here, okay? The most common side that is talked about in this question is the shortest side, right? And we are asked to find that shortest side. So do we know what the shortest side is? No. Let's call that shortest side y, okay? So y. We're also told that there is one side that is twice as long as the shortest side. So let's say this is this side. So this is 2y, okay? And a third side that is 8 inches longer than the shortest side. So the shortest side plus 8. So this will be y plus 8. Okay, the shortest side, 2 times the shortest side, and the shortest side plus 8. 8 inches longer than the shortest side. Now, when you add these 3 sides together, you're expected to get 60 inches because 60 inches is the perimeter. So y plus 2y plus y plus 8 is equal to 60. Y plus 2y plus y is going to give us 4y. 4y plus 8 is equal to 60. Subtracting 8 from both sides, 8 is going to be cancelled out on the left. We're going to have 4y is equal to 60 minus 8. So going further, 60 minus 8 is going to give us 52. So we have 4y is equal to 52. Next, in order to get y, we divide both sides by 4. 4 is going to cancel out 4. We have y is equal to 13 inches. This means the length of the shortest side is 13 inches. That means option C is the correct option. Next, we're going to look at a third example, but we cannot exhaust all the practice questions in one video. So if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to this YouTube channel and always check my YouTube shorts, because I always post each of these type of practice questions as shorts here on this YouTube channel. Let's continue. This next question is about circumference of a circle. Let's look at it. We're told that Timothy runs every morning once around a circular track in a park close to his house. If the radius of the track is 50 yards, how far does Timothy run every morning? So this is very simple. Let's picture the story. So Timothy runs around a track, right, in a park that is close to his house. The track is a circular track, so let's draw it. The track is circular, right? So when you are running around a track, are you running on the area of the circle or the circumference of the circle? Most likely the circumference of the circle, because you are running around the track and the track is circular, which creates a circumference. So we are asked, what is the distance Timothy runs? Remember, he runs once around this track, right? Going once around this track is equal to the circumference of the circle. So we need to apply the formula for circumference of a circle in order to solve this question. Remember that the radius is 50 yards, okay? So the formula for circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi radius. You can see that in this question, you were not given the value of pi. It is expected that you should know the value of pi. Pi is equal to 3.14, okay? So this will give us 2 multiplied by 3.14 multiplied by 50. How do we go about solving this? You should know how to multiply decimals and whole numbers. But since this is a very simple question, it is easy to solve this. But in my next video, I'm going to be teaching about how to multiply and divide decimals. It's very important because many persons struggle with the ASVAB exams because they don't know these simple details of how to multiply and divide decimals and other basic arithmetic. Okay, so for us to do this, we know that 2 multiplied by 50 is going to give us 100. So we have 3.14 multiplied by 100. And whenever you are multiplying any value by 100 or any other multiple of 10, you move the decimal points based on the number of zeros that are attached to 1. So here we have 2 zeros attached to 1. So we move the decimal point twice. 1, 2. So our final answer is going to be 314 yards. Okay, very simple. So the answer to this question is option C. If you want more content like this, subscribe to this YouTube channel. I post at least 4 long form videos every week and 2 short form videos every single day on my YouTube shorts. So just by going through my YouTube shorts, you're going to see examples from ASVAB practice questions, and also from my long form videos, I'm going to be doing a detailed lesson on different important topics that will help you to pass the ASVAB exam. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video, leave any comment concerning any topic you want to learn, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you once again. See you in the next lesson. Bye.